Hey guys, so I just wanted to come up here and talk about prostatitis. If you're watching this video, I'm pretty sure you're probably looking for answers. One of the things I wanted to bring awareness to is not just any type of prostatitis, but specifically prostatitis brought on by an anal injury from anal sex. Um, I'm making this video because I know, like myself, I know people out there are probably dealing with this, and there's not that much information out there. I think from my information, all I found was about one article like, yes, an anal injury from sex can cause prostatitis. So I want to talk about, right now I'm dealing with prostatitis, but I've also dealt with it once before back in 2020. Um, so let me tell you about my experience. Just warning, this is going to be very detailed and graphic and possibly too much information for uh, the average guy to process, but I kind of want to give you the details to what led to it, just to see if if you're experiencing the same thing. So back in, I want to say it was like the last week of August of 2020, I had a sexual partner. I was the bottom, the receiver, to where he was the top, and everything was going great. I want to say he wasn't too large, he was basically average, but what happened with that first time was when he was, having sex with me, I came, and usually after I come, I don't want to be a greedy person, so I want to let them finish too. So I let him keep going, but he was going so hard, just really hard, and it basically hurt so much. I remember like yelling in pain. So he stopped, and I just remember feeling weird afterwards, but I felt okay. So flash forward maybe a couple of days, I had to go to the doctor to get a refill on my Descovy, my medication. So when you go, you have to do like your regular urine test, and just to make sure you're good to go. So one of the things I noticed in the progress of those days was it was taking me a while to urinate. Like there was a delay. I would say the delay was about 10 seconds, and I didn't think anything of it in the beginning. But then when it kept happening, I'm like, this is weird, because when you have to pee, your mind automatically tells you you have to urinate. And so also during this time, passing a stool was very painful. I was to the point where it felt like, I don't know if this is if I'm over exaggerating. I don't think it is, because this is what it felt like, in my opinion. It felt like I was shitting out glass. It was painful. And then around that time as well, I started noticing I had trouble walking, and I was feeling a little bit numb behind my legs. So I'm at the doctor, and at this point, by the way, the numbness kind of went away, but my bottom, like my ass, it felt like I could feel when I was passing. No, I could feel when I had to go to the bathroom, passing a stool, but when I was passing the stool, I couldn't feel it. So that was one odd situation. And then I started feeling numb to the point where you know how when you ride a bike for such a long time and you feel very numb? I was feeling like that all the time. So then I was mentioning to my doctor that, hey, I'm noticing a delay in my urine. I'm not sure what it is. And I brought it up, but she just said, okay, just keep an eye on it. So I remember exactly, it was like a day or two later. This was during COVID, of course, so I was on online class, and I remember it was like 9 a.m. and I had woken up maybe 10 minutes before I was supposed to be on Zoom. And so I feel like I have to pee, everyone does every morning. So I'm going to the bathroom, and I'm like, uh-oh, it won't come out. I can't come out. And I kid you not, I remember panicking, And I don't know how to describe it. It's like you're so bloated with urine, but you can't really get it out. It's painful and it's so disturbing. So I call my friend and I'm telling him, oh my gosh, I can't pee. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know if I should go to the ER. So he tells me, go to the shower. Because usually when I take a very hot shower and I let it hit my stomach, it helps me pee. So I go in the shower, I put the water on boiling hot, and by some miracle, I'm letting it hit my like lower abdomen and I'm able to pee. And it's weird because this is the only way I could release urine. So after that, I was like, okay, at least there's a way for me to be able to urinate. So then, as I'm trying to figure out this, I noticed every time I would empty, I would have to go again and again and again. And it was like I had to be in bed because you're not feeling good, and then I had to stay by the shower in order to empty like it was constant. It was so bad I had to keep calling out of work. And yeah. So during this time I set up another appointment with my doctor. And I love my doctor, and I understand this is probably not her, like she's not, well known to this kind of situation. But she was just like, oh, I'm so sorry. If you still just keep doing what you're doing, go to the bath, use the shower to help you urinate. And if it just becomes too much to bear, just go to the ER. And I just remember being like, are you like kidding me? Like, this is really bad. And all I can say is, I'm sorry. And it's not her fault. I understand. It's just when you're in that mindset, you're just upset. And you're upset that it's basically just like, well, good luck. So I want to say the next 3 days, I remember it was like 3 days, and it was so horrible, you guys. It's prostatitis. You feel very lonely because no one else will understand. And thankfully, my best friend Benny, like he's never dealt with it, but he was very open to where other friends didn't really know what was going on. And I would call him crying and crying and crying, and yeah, it was bad. So then it got to the point where I just was like, screw it, I'm going to the ER. And so I go to the ER, and I remember, God, she was so judgmental. I told her what happened, and the first thing she thought was like, oh, it's probably an STI. And she, I kid you not, was looking at me very, like, she was, I don't want to say disgusted, but she was judgy. And so she's like, well, we need you to urinate in this cup. So they had me in this room, and I'm telling her, I can't urinate. I have to be in the shower for the hot water to hit me in order to like allow me to urinate. And she's just like, well, we'll just keep you here and then we'll see. And I'm like, fuck, great. I'm going to stay in a hospital room where I'm charged up the ass just to wait for me to pee. So I remember like going in there, and I have my music on and I'm trying to relax, and I'm trying for hours to pee, and I go into the bathroom and come out of the bathroom and go into the bathroom and come out. And then I finally, I just remember trying to really focus, and I got a tiny bit out. It was a little bit. And I remember them saying it was only enough for probably one test. So instead of doing a regular urine test to find out what would happen, she stupidly tested me for STIs, which I had just gotten tested when I did my Discovery, and I was in the clear. And I had told her that. But her being the judgmental person, she just tested it. And so basically I paid for the most expensive STI test ever. And so I go home and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm stuck like this. I can't even get help from the ER. And so I remember my coworker, she was actually telling me, hey, don't go to that ER. You went to the worst one. They're just judgmental. And she was like, go to this ER. When I went there, they were very nice. So I go to the ER, and I remember the doctor, he was this young guy. He looked really chill, he would listen to me. And I remember telling him, Oh, I brought like a bottle of my own urine because I was able to get it from the shower, and I put it in like one of those sippy bottles. And so I gave him that to test. And I remember having a conversation with him and telling him, listen, I've been to the ER before, because he thought maybe it could be an STI. And I said, no, it's not. I've already gotten tested for this. I'm in the clear. And this is what the last ER did. They were just very judgmental. And I'm asking you to please look at me like a human being and let me tell you my story. So that way we can figure this out. And he was very nice, very calm. Like he listened to me. And that's what I really liked about him. So I tell him my story. And then he's like, I think you have prostatitis. Let's check. So I remember him doing the prostate check on me. And when he touched my prostate, it was so sensitive. And I was just like, oh my gosh, no. So, oh yeah, one thing I forgot to mention too is whenever I would try to masturbate, it was so uncomfortable as well. So that was one of the symptoms I was experiencing because I wanted to see like if everything was clogged. So he's like, yeah, you have prostatitis. Um, so they gave me this shot. I don't remember what it was called, but this shot was so painful. They gave it to me on my arm and I was like hurting bad. Then they gave me the antibiotics. And then I was finally able to see a urologist. Maybe, I want to say it was like 5 or 6 days later, I saw a urologist. And I remember that day going in, I was still having slight trouble. Like nothing was changing, even though I got the shot and stuff. But it was weird because it was like a slight improvement from what I was feeling before. Like, I don't want to say I was feeling better, but I wasn't feeling like I had to sleep 24/7. Like I could watch TV and just do normal stuff. And so I go to the urologist and he's judgmental too. And I remember he had this guy with him. I guess it was like a student trying to learn. And I remember snapping on him and telling him, I'm telling you what's happening. This is this. And this is what I got told at the ER. And he was telling me about like, I had suffered some like nerve damage because they inspected me and stuff. And I was telling him about the numbness in my ass and stuff. And he was telling me I had some slight nerve damage, but that it was going to heal. But the prostate thing, just to keep an eye on it. And then I was going to have a follow-up in 2 weeks. And then oddly enough, I want to say about a day or two later, I started peeing on my own again. It was very little, but it was progress. And I was very happy. And then come 2 weeks later, when I had to see the urologist again, I was so good. And I remember telling him like, I feel great. You know, I'm scared to have sex, but I just feel really good. And yeah, so during that time, I was normal. I didn't have sex for 4 months. I was masturbating occasionally, but everything was great. And then 4 months later, I started having sex again and everything was normal. And I was like back to normal.